I knocked him down.
I didn't even see him.
If you don't shoot me, I will shoot you.
You think that was a lie?
A big fat one, so.
But I don't want to kill anyone. I don't know what, he was playing with his trigger, I don't know, it didn't work anyway. On Friday, which is my day, I was in the office. This was around 10. Well, all of a sudden, the bell didn't even ring.
And what happened on that Friday?
On that Friday, as I said, I went to work, normal. I was writing a letter to my cousin sister, and then Jammeh called in the intercom, and then he said, come to my office.
Just rushed in. Somebody came for. Before I asked him, who the hell do you think you are just busting into my office like that? Somebody came and said, it is all.
Mamoudou volunteer, history no clear.
They pointed their pistols at me. You know. And you are the big, sorry, I tell you, you are the big, this is the biggest joke I've ever had since 94. Since 22nd of July. This is the biggest joke. Telling me that it's over, who the hell do you think? Someone told me to get up from where I saw that. Hey, you are a rabbit. Shoot me if you want, if you think that you can do anything to me. Shoot me. I told him his gun would not fire.
Kedeki.
Did he have a magic wand and say, Sanabayro Sabali, freeze, and suddenly you are frozen?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I don't know why he said so, but for me, this was going to come in the later years. For me, it was like he was establishing that he's invincible, that nobody can do anything to him, and then that was the beginning of his power.
So he suggested to people that he had supernatural powers.
Exactly.
He could freeze people when he wanted.
Yeah.
On Friday, which is my day, I was in the office. This was around 10. Well, all of a sudden, the bell didn't even ring. Just rushed in. Somebody came for. Before I asked him, who the hell do you think you are just busting into my office like that? Somebody came and said, it is all. They pointed their pistols at me. You know. And you are the big, sorry, I tell you, you are the big, this is the biggest joke I've ever had since 94. Since 22nd of July. This is the biggest joke. Telling me that it's over, who the hell do you think? Someone told me to get up from where I saw that. Hey, you are a rabbit. Shoot me if you want, if you think that you can do anything to me. Shoot me. I told him his gun would not fire. So I didn't want a shootout in my office. Because if I had called, pressed the bell, if these people came rushing in, they would have shot. And all of a sudden, when they rushed in, they just locked the door. So these people were outside, but you guys were trying to open. And I said, no, just leave, we are just discussing. So Sabal told me, and he told him, sorry, the man got just when this man came, sorry, I said, I realized this is weird. And I got up and I just got hold of his collar. Okay? So I knocked him down. I told Sabal, I was telling Sabal, you are the leader. So, if you don't shoot me, I will shoot you. Then I took out my gun. But I don't want to kill anybody, especially on a Friday, in my office. So I just went in. Sabal wanted to come and prevent me from... I don't know what, he was playing with his trigger, I don't know, it didn't work anyway. So I wanted to open the door, and then he wanted to block me. I didn't move, I just pushed him aside, opened the door, and then grabbed him by the neck. Then the boys came on. Then they were searching my person. I thought they had 2 pistols, each pistol loaded. So when I asked somebody, why this? I thought you were mad, because all these days people have been telling me things. And that explains why you refuse to hand over the heavy weapon. And then Bala Mara, Satan. I got Satan. You will see Satan. Satan is a human being.
Jammeh, this story no clear. Wallahi no clear. Hey.
Told them clearly, I'm not against the formation of this 22nd July movement, but my time was up to leave the council because my 6-month term was already there.
Did they see anything else?
They saw it strange, but I think they understood. I think Soldau in the end said, you have to go, but you should have stayed. And then they tried to explain how Baba Job was trained in Libya and Soldau, how they were organizing these things so that we can consolidate as a civilian government. But I said, no, at the end of the 6 months, I have sworn into the Quran, I will not go against this firing.
So you indicated your determination to leave?
Exactly.
Whether AFPRC remained or not?
Certainly, yes.
So what happened after that?
I went home, I got the National Council Committee report, this is the draft report for that day, and then I called Jammeh and said, we discuss it tomorrow before we sit in the council meeting. Because for him it was like the term given was 2 point, are you with me? Okay.
Yes.
The term he was looking for was 2.5 years, 2.5 years, meaning 2.5 years. And I reminded him clearly on the telephone that we had sworn into the Quran and the Bible that we are going to hand over after 6 months.
Was he happy when you said that?
He said, until we see tomorrow.
Okay. And what happened the next day?
The next day, we went to work. I was in the office. I was writing a letter to my cousin. And then he called on the intercom. Come to my office. I took the stairs upstairs, and when I come into the corridor, okay.
Before this, what was your relationship like with Edward Singate?
Okay, if I should fast track it, the next day, that very Thursday, later I'd have to recollect and put dots together. Then I knew, that was.
What did you know when you connected the dots together?
Because he came that evening, in the morning, he said, we have to hand over the weapons because the civilians are afraid of these weapons in the State House. And of course, we are dealing with civilians. So I complied. I said, okay, I'll bring the weapons in the afternoon. So when I went home, I asked the guards to bring out these weapons, clean them, and take them back to the armory in the State House where they belong to. And Edward Singate, on this particular evening, he visited me in the Fajara residence. But for me, later I come to put the dots together. He was there to confirm that we had no weapons.
For what?
In the event, if there was to be a fighting between me and them, then they would overpower us.
And what happened on that Friday?
On that Friday, as I said, I went to work, normal. I was writing a letter to my cousin sister, and then Jammeh called in the intercom, and then he said, come to my office. For me, since we called the previous evening to discuss the NCC report, the draft report, before we sit in council, I found it necessary and normal, and I went. Immediately I arrived in the corridor.
How did you go? Did you go alone or did you go with your guards?
I think JCB would have been behind me. I never went there alone, but they stopped always in the security room.
Were you armed?
Of course, I was armed with my pistol.
So tell us what happened when you arrived at Jammeh's office, his area of
When I arrived in the corridor, already his soldiers were there, the bodyguards were there, they waited for me, and then they arrested me.
Could you describe how and who was there?
Khalifa Bajinka was there, Almamo Mane was there, Bakari Kamara was there, Malafi Kaur was there, other soldiers, I don't know them from the TSG. Musa Mane was there, Musa Jammeh was there, commonly called Malia Mungu. Lamin S. Kamara was there, he was the bodyguard to Lieutenant Singate. And I think Samba Jallo was there, the driver to Edward Singate.
Bach.
Exactly.
These were all very big guys, huh?
Yes.
They overpowered you easily.
Correct.
And what happened to your arm?
They disarmed me, they tied me down, and then...
Do you mean by that? They tagged me down?
They weighed me down, meaning they brought me down, and then they tied my legs and my hands together. And then shortly, maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes, Sadib also walked into the same trap. He was also overpowered and arrested like myself.
What was Sadib's position with regards to the handing over to civilian rule?
He was on my side.
He too was adamant that
We have
6
to go.
months, no more.
We have to go.
Why do you think he was arrested?
Because I was arrested, he would have to be arrested.
And after your arrest, immediately after your arrest, what happened?
Then we were brought down through the office of Jammeh at the time, then to the back door, into 2 waiting vehicles, and then...
Did you see Mr. Singate at the time of the arrest?
Actually, at that point, Singate, when we were arrested, even before we were marched through the office, Singate came, and then he pointed the pistol right on Sadib's forehead, and I told him, do not fire. And then he lowered his pistol down and then went back into the office of Jammeh. That was the last time I saw them, or saw him.
Did you enter Jammeh's office at all?
Yeah, before the arrest, no. But when we were being marched to the vehicles, yes, because they forced us through the back door.
Did you have a word with him?
I didn't even see him.
So, after you were marched through Jammeh's office, where were you taken?
We were taken into a waiting vehicle, and then 2 miles to prison.
Did you hear the government announcement as to what happened?
This would come on a Monday. I was later told. I didn't hear it, but I was later told.
What were you told?
That I entered Jammeh's office and found him sitting down, and I pointed my pistol to him and I said, this is your end. And then I was frozen like a mummy, and then he came, disarmed me, tied me down, and then that was ended for him.
Can you describe what you mean, frozen like a mummy?
Yeah.
Did he have a magic wand and say, Sanabairo Sabali, freeze, and suddenly you are frozen?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I don't know why he said so, but for me, this was going to come in the later years. For me, it was like he was establishing that he's invincible, that nobody can do anything to him, and then that was the beginning of his power.
So he suggested to people that he had supernatural powers.
Exactly.
He could freeze people when he wanted.
Yeah.
And then you think that was a lie?
Sorry?
That was a lie.
A big fat one.
So
Nyama bama kilimondo tala. Bang konta tala la fonsi karfol palunde. Nyama bama kilimondo tala. Bang konta tala la fonsi karfol palunde. Ala tuje fonsi karfol palunde. No alin tuje fonsi karfol palunde. Ala tuje fonsi karfol palunde.